Rudiger, well, he advanced, but the referee says that will do. And at half-time, in this breathless first half, City taking the lead through Bernardo Silva. Two cruelly deflected goals. One a shot from Camavinga that was certainly going to be an easy one for Ortega, but it hit Diaz. And then a moment or two later, Rodrygo hitting a shot which deflected off the heel of Akanji. And all of a sudden, City, who were leading, trailed by 2-1. As the first half went on, City got more control of the game, but there's no more goals. And so at half-time, Real Madrid are edging it by 2-1. Well, let's go back to the studio.
Thank you for joining us back on Matchday Live. So it is half-time in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final. City trailing 2-1 as it stands. A quarter of the way through, we can call it, in a mad 20 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us again. I'm still joined by Izzy Christiansen, by Shaun Goater and by Jill Roord. I mean, I think we were all expecting a game, but my goodness, Shaun, I don't think we were expecting those opening 20 minutes.
No, not at all. I mean, from City's point of view, it was an amazing start. We really got a goal with really clever thinking. It's really world-class thinking. When a goalkeeper starts to cheat, you look at the distance, the keeper's thinking, I can go maybe another 2 yards. And he's just thinking of the highest level. But then Madrid sort of get themselves back into it, score their goals. And then it was a period where City had a little bit more control. Having a little bit more control in terms of the pace of the game and slowing it up. But they were disappointed having led with such an early goal to go on and concede 2 goals.
Jill, how would you summarise that first half?
Hectic. No, I think it's been fun to watch. Like, it's been going up and down a lot. The intensity is very high. I think City has the ball a lot, but they're not creating much. And Real, with their transition, it's a threat the whole time. So they have to watch that in the second half.
Yeah, we can see the stats there on the screen that City are dominating possession, 62%, probably as expected. And as Jill said before the show, Real Madrid fine with that. In terms of their attempts on target, 2 for City, 4 for Real Madrid, 7 and 4 as well. City working hard, covering a lot of distance, making more passes, completing more passes. And 1 yellow card for each team at the minute. Now, the first yellow card for Real Madrid came in the first minute. We had spoken in the pre-match show about the Real Madrid players that were already on yellow cards that would miss the second leg if they got another yellow. And Tchouaméni was one of those. So getting booked in the first minute, knowing immediately you're out of the second leg. It was a bizarre start, considering we talked about it, to get booked in the first minute knowing you'd be out of the second leg. That seems a bit... It's just a bit bad, isn't it?
Well, it's from Tchouaméni's perspective, it's really stupid. But it came from City, you know, Grealish just driving with the ball, doing what he does, and we spoke about it before the game, you know, he draws fouls, and that's exactly what he did. The intensity of the game, it was right there from the first second, and I think sometimes as a player, we're all, you know, always guilty sometimes of being caught in the emotion, but, you know, it was the dream start for Man City, and I think that the way that Real Madrid got back into the game was quite lucky. Obviously, the deflected shot from distance, and I think that the longer the game went on, with City at 1-0 controlling it, the harder it becomes for Madrid to score. So they obviously then got themselves on the front foot. And it's a tough task for City now, but they can do it.
Izzy, look at those passing stats there. We can see that for City, it's Rodri, Diaz, Akanji, Stones and Gvardiol. So it's essentially the back 5 there. Yeah. Have got the top passes for City. Obviously, Cruz is in there as well, but 5 of the top 6 on the pitch. The completion rates as well for City, incredible, 98% for Diaz, 98% for Akanji. Given that the 5 for City are there, what does that tell us about the first half?
Well, it tells us that Real Madrid are really happy for Manchester City's back 5 to have the ball. They know that they can't hurt them when they've got the ball in their own half, building, playing, and City do this all the time to every team in the Premier League. They dominate possession. And I've seen it with Toni Kroos. He's dropping deeper and deeper, and it allows Rudiger to go in on Haaland, and we were speaking about that before the game, and what Kroos is doing is he's just slotting in and giving Rudiger the licence to go with Haaland, follow him in, and Kroos will just make a sort of a wall at the back. So Real Madrid are more concerned about City's forward players than they are having like Akanji and Stones and Diaz building from the back. So Manchester City have got, they've got a tough ask, and I'm sure they'll come up with some solutions in the changing rooms at half-time, but the second half will be really interesting.
We can see some distant stats there as well being run. Phil Foden working hard on that pitch tonight, and Rodri as well, of course, as well. So the booking in the first minute, that then led to City's opening goal, the free kick by Bernardo Silva. What did you make of the free kick, Shaun?
I thought it was sensational. It really was, because I think probably 99% of people watching is thinking this ball is going to be delivered in the box. And Bernardo stood over. I'm trying to think who was alongside him, but he's looked and he's probably thought, yeah, the goalkeeper's giving me too much here, and he hasn't hit it. He's hit it probably like 80%, like not 100%, so they can still have the accuracy. And it's just crept in. So it's really intelligent play from him to be able to see that and recognise that.
It was Grealish that was next to him. It
was Grealish, yeah. And he's probably whispered to Grealish, I can go for this. I can go for this, because that's what players standing over free kicks. They know what free kick they should be doing, as in where they need to be delivering the ball. But he's looking and he's thinking, the keeper's just giving me a lot here. I can go for this. And again, he doesn't hit it with 100%, but I think it's enough power and pace that he still keeps the accuracy, it was absolutely brilliant.
So it was an ideal start for City, but they only held the lead for 7 minutes. So Real Madrid equalised in the 9th minute. Camavinga or Ruben Diaz's own goal. I don't want to say that, really. I mean, it was a really unlucky deflection, Jill.
It was. The deflection itself, that was unlucky. But I think what happens before the goal obviously was not completely right. And that's where Real keeps getting dangerous, so I think they have to speak about that a bit.
What would you like to have seen City do differently defensively in that situation?
To be fair, we spoke about it, but we have to watch it back. But I think you said as well, either you're tight and you don't let him turn, or you take your space, because obviously I think it was Rodrygo is extremely fast, and he was a bit in between, which you shouldn't do.
Yeah, and that's the second one. The first one, he cuts in on the right-hand side, and when he cuts in and has his shot, it looks like it's going wide and just deflects. It's not even a powerful shot, and deflects, and it's just like, as he struck it, I'm thinking, and it's deflected, I'm thinking, oh no, but that's the luck they needed. That it got their crowd in. Right, the crowd was in it, but it gave them a little bit more belief, and that's the unfortunate thing. I think when he cuts in, there has to be a point as a defence, because you're holding a line together. There has to be a point when someone steps and deals with it. But again, because they're probably not thinking he's going to shoot, and if he does, it's some distance for him to beat our keeper. It's an aimless shot, deflects, and it's just really unfortunate.
And then, so the Real Madrid with the equaliser there in the 9th minute, and then, oh gosh, honestly, I was having flashbacks to 2 years ago. 112 seconds later, Real Madrid take the lead. Rodrygo, 14th goal. It's a difficult one to describe. And from your point of view, what could City have done? Because obviously, it's that fast counter again.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the way Pep thought, if Real Madrid are going to hurt Man City, that's how they're going to do it, with quick, snappy play, using the space in behind. And it's just, I was asking Shaun his views, with him being a fantastic coach, a forward coach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when a player drops in deep, the centre-back goes with him, and I think it's John Stones.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, in that situation, if you get him with his back to goal, he can't turn. Yeah. Even if you foul him, and I think we saw it with Carvajal on Kovacic maybe further on in the first half, where he just fouled him. You just got it. And even if you take a yellow card in that situation, because that's how dangerous Madrid are, and they just feed the ball into the space, and it's good play, but preventable. Dare I say it, it's preventable.
Yeah, once Vinicius gets turned, he can see the whole play, whether he could keep driving, go inside, but he sees the ball down the line, and it's Akanji. And Akanji's tight, because City's got the high line and being aggressive, but Akanji's tight. And Rodrygo is in front of him, but he's too tight, because he's dangerously spaced now. No longer the player. So once that ball gets put in his space, it's a foot race, and then Rodrygo, he goes, he drives forward. It's a good goal from them, but also we could put we could do better in terms of not allowing it to turn. And if he does turn, then Akanji drop off more, allow him to get it to feet, and then say, well, take me on, as opposed to let it be a foot race. And he does well. So it's a good goal from their point of view.
City could have done better for both goals, Shaun, but it still feels slightly annoying and a bit unlucky considering both goals ultimately involve deflections.
Oh, yes. And listen, City's got another gear. We saw it through the last third of that half, really. You saw City having a little bit more control and playing at City's pace. Again, we're seeing the percentages of passes of our players. Rodri, a high percentage of keeping the ball once or twice, a little bit untidy for Rodri. Normally you see Rodri lose a ball probably every 3 matches, you know. But tonight we're seeing maybe 2 or 3 balls, and so we get Rodri back to his game in terms of those levels of not giving the 1 or 2 loose players. It doesn't then give them something to, because what they're looking for is to counter, and the ball's lost inside that middle. They're counterattacking. They're counterattacking with their front 3, and they're almost saying, well, you front 3 or 4, you go ahead and attack, and they're just holding back to say, well, so City can't counterattack.
So, sadly, that first goal officially did go down as a Ruben Diaz own goal. Now, something else in the first half that was winding me up rotten was the behaviour of Jude Bellingham. So we know that he's on a yellow card already. So another yellow card, or a yellow card in this game will mean... Sorry, he's not on a yellow card. He's up to a point. If he gets a yellow card, he will be out of the next game, the second leg here. And I feel like he should have had one, Izzy. Am I biased?
Well, he's certainly been testing the referee's patience.
Hasn't he?
And then Akanji got booked for something really, minor. So there are inconsistencies there. And I think, to be honest, with Jude Bellingham, such a talent. But I saw him play for England at Wembley a couple of weeks ago, and he was doing the same. And I don't like it. I love him as a player, but I don't like that. And I think he needs to... snap out of it. But if he does get a yellow card today, happy days for Man City if he's not coming to the Etihad next week.
It would be very happy days. Yeah, there was Diaz did a brilliant tackle and he was rolling around and then he shoved him and then he was chatting to the ref. Yeah, I think he's lucky. I'm just saying that. Yeah. I think he's lucky. Right, before the show, we told you about a poll that we're running on Twitter and Instagram. The best Kevin De Bruyne goal from his 100 for Manchester City. We showed you some options. We showed you the goals. You went off and had a good old vote. And we have a winner. Kevin De Bruyne's best ever goal for Manchester City, according to you, is this. Here we go. Of course, last year's goal at the Bernabeu. Oh, Shaun.
Jill spoke about that. She said about the quality. So talk us through that, Jill. What's he thinking?
No, I think the way he gets the ball now, it's actually very difficult to finish this.
Square ball coming across the body. It takes real.
It doesn't come straight at him. It comes from the side. It's hard to hit it.
If you look at his body shape when he strikes it, you think the ball's going to hit the corner flag.
Yeah.
But it's the way he slices across it with the outside of his foot. Almost, you can sort of see the technique.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. You see how his foot sweeps across. It sweeps across, but he's still hitting it dead center. It's a beautiful strike.
Stunning goal from Kevin De Bruyne. He's on the bench tonight. He was poorly before the game. Pep has said that he was poorly before the game. He is on the bench. I hope maybe his stomach is settled in that first half. I'd love to see him come off the bench and do that again, Shaun. Yeah,
City's got a couple levels, and if he was to come off the bench, again, his quality of pass, his weight of pass, Haaland will play slightly different. I think he knows that through ball will come. So most of those balls that are coming into him, his old-fashioned striker position where the defender's behind him, Rudiger's behind him and physically challenging him. But as I said before, I think if he can get himself in a position to be side on, to be going on to the ball, running in behind, or receiving it side on to still face Rudiger, it's different because then he could even slide players in. But KDB was to come on, he without doubt will be able to find 2 or 3 passes that'll say, there you go, you're in.
So the second half is coming up. Get your second half commentary on the Manchester City app with Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison. Quickly before the players come out, you have been sending WhatsApp questions in. Thank you so much. You've got one here for Jill from Emily, so we'll fit that in nice and quickly. Jill, Emily would like to know, what has been the highlight of your career so far?
I would have to say winning the Euros with the Netherlands.
winning the... Oh, I like that. Just that's a mic drop to end this part of the show. Thanks, Jill.
To the Euros.
Love that. Great question. Thank you so much. So the teams are coming out. You can see there. If there is any changes, Alistair Mann will let you know straight away. We will be back here in 45 minutes. Hopefully, we are talking about another City goal at least and bringing a good result back to the Etihad Stadium next week. Enjoy the second half. Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison on the City app right now.
Thanks, Natalie. Welcome back to the Bernabeu. City haven't made any changes at half-time. And just looking across at the Real Madrid players, neither have the home side either. Well, Madrid are going to have to make a change in the second leg. Shaun